You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. So we're going to be joined on the phone. We're going to be talking all about small businesses and how they grow but reduce their costs. Thank you very much for joining us. I was hoping you could just introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself as well.
Absolutely, thanks for having me. My name is Fraser Doherty. I'm from Edinburgh and I'm the founder of a jam company called SuperJam, which I started with my grandmother, and I'm also the co-founder of a craft beer club called Beer52.
Well, I was hoping you could tell us more about what business dishes you're making could be sort of doing better when looking at their annual outgoings.
Well, research that's just come out this week from EDF Energy shows that about 1 in 3 small businesses aren't very sure how much they're spending on energy as a proportion of their annual costs. So it means that small businesses could be saving money by switching suppliers, and about 60% of businesses haven't even changed suppliers for the past 3 years. So definitely there's a lot of businesses out there that could be saving money by changing their energy supplier, maybe by changing tariff. A lot of people are still on a variable price contract, but they could be on a fixed price contract, which often can save you money.
So you could tell us a bit more about what some of the businesses actually in our region here on the island are overlooking when it comes to money and expenses.
Well, in the Isles of Sheppey, about 36% of small businesses don't know how much of their annual outgoings relate to energy spend, which is higher than the national average of 29%. And about 55% of small businesses haven't changed suppliers in the past 3 years, which again is higher than the national average. So definitely businesses in your area could be saving a lot of money by going online, changing supplier, making sure they're on the right tariff.
I suppose it's one of those things you get sort of bogged down with so many other things and the electric's there and working. You don't always want to tamper with it or get involved in, changing things why it works and those bills come in, even though they might be costing you more.
That's right, yeah. Small business owners are very busy people. They're trying to keep their customers happy, trying to keep their team happy, just trying to make ends meet at the end of the month. And so just like in your own home, energy prices and what contract you're on often is at the bottom of your to-do list. You kind of forget about it, and that means you're very often paying much more than you need to.
And I suppose that's where that sort of ignorance sort of comes from, I suppose, when it comes to sort of even investigating it.
Definitely, and a lot of people imagine that it's going to take a lot of time, that it's going to be very complicated to figure out if you're with the right supplier or on the right tariff, but when we did it ourselves, we actually went to a website which is edfenergy.com/SME-business. And on there, they've got loads of tips and tricks to make it really easy for you to save money on your energy. And you can do a quick check. It takes about 60 seconds. You can make sure you're with the right supplier, make sure you're on the right tariff. And as I mentioned, a lot of people can save money by changing from a variable price contract to a fixed price contract. But that's not right for everyone. So you should make sure that you get some advice. And if you are a small business, they've actually got special packages available for you. So make sure you check that out as well.
Are there any sort of advice you have around mistakes you could make when it looks at change your energy so local businesses, don't do that?
Well, just the biggest mistake that small businesses make is just not checking on an annual basis that you're with the right supplier. People set it up, they leave it running. As you say, as long as the lights are working, they don't really think about it. And you can end up sitting with the same supplier for years and years, paying more than you need to. And it's maybe not the most exciting thing people imagine to look at, but actually, for a minute's work, you could end up saving a few £100, which is not bad at all.
And I suppose it's then keeping on top of it and not getting lapsed again, but making sure you regularly change, or at least keep an eye that you're not being charged too much.
Exactly. The rates do change over time, so the best thing to do is maybe put in your calendar, or your supplier will usually remind you before your renewal is up, 60 days before you move on to the next year. So just go online every year, make sure you're on the right tariff with the right supplier, and it's a very easy way of saving money, to be honest.
Was there anything else you'd like to cover or get over to our listeners?
Actually, Small Business Advice Week, which is sponsored by EDF Energy, and it's a chance for small businesses to get advice on their business, on things like their energy costs, but also to get advice from other businesses and entrepreneurs to help them grow their business. And I know that in my case, finding the right sources of advice was the best way of figuring out how to solve problems that I came across along the way in growing my own business.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to our listeners here at BRFM Bridge Radio.
Well, thanks for having me, Daniel. Appreciate it.